Our reality is made up of our beliefs. What we have picked up over our life and accepted as fact manifests into the way physicality arranges itself. The way that you talk to yourself is how you talk to the universe. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the B community. Another deep breath together. And on this channel, we talk about spirituality and personal development. And today we're going to talk about how to rearrange reality with our thoughts. Because basically our thoughts and our conversations with ourselves is how we speak to the universe. Just a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, my spiritual jewelry line, Alchemy by LA. If you've been looking for a new spiritual tool to assist and enhance your journey, if you're looking for healing, balancing, manifesting your soulmate, abundance, creativity, fertility, or just need some extra spiritual protection, visit alchemybyla.com. Link in the description below. Check out my beautiful little pieces of functional spiritual art. Thank you, and right into the video we go. A lot of us, more than you could even possibly imagine, find ourselves in a place where we no longer know how to help ourselves, or we don't even know where to start. We might not have any motivation to get ourselves together, our lives together, to go to the gym, to get off the couch, to eat healthy, and to much less to go after our dreams. And a lot of the time, we believe that the answers to that is to force ourselves to be outer motivated, force ourselves to do things that we're simply energetically not ready to do. We're not in alignment with it. So listening to affirmations, to motivational videos, all of that is amazing and it works and it's so helpful and I do it all the time. But there really is nothing more life-changing than being self-motivated, than receiving validation and encouragement and motivation from your inner voice. So I believe that if you want to start truly caring for yourself and changing your life, you can't force it through your outer reality first. You can, but it's really difficult that way. Rather, if you clean up your inner world, your programming, then your outer life will align little by little until you are able to make these huge changes and care for yourself again and go after your dreams again. Our reality is made up of our beliefs. What we have picked up over our life and accepted as fact will manifest into the way physicality arranges itself. So throughout your life, you may have picked up certain beliefs about the way that the world works, certain beliefs about other people and about yourselves. And you pick these beliefs up from comments made by others, from your caretakers, from your school, your classmates, your teachers, your friends, neighbors, family, everyone that had a hand in raising you technically. And the younger you are when you hear these beliefs, specifically from the ages of 1 through 7, the more you believe them and the more that these beliefs will shape your reality. And so here we are now, adults with a set of beliefs that make up our reality, our levels of contentment, our levels of success, how we love others and how we accept love and love ourselves, how healthy we may be. Really, everything is determined by these world-shaping beliefs that you've adopted as your own that weren't yours to begin with. So this could work really well for some of us. For example, when I was in first grade, my teacher called my parents into school to show them my art, tell them I was gifted and that they should really encourage this talent. This stayed with me. This reinforced my ego construct to believe that I was creatively gifted, and it changed my self-concept. But compare that to my brother who had trouble in school and would get teachers commenting on him not being a good student, rather than helping to assimilate to America when we just got here. He internalized that he isn't a good student, that he isn't smart, and he continued to have trouble with education for the rest of his academic career, even though he is objectively the most intelligent one of our families. After testing all of our IQs, he has the highest IQ, he's a genius, but he could never succeed academically because of what he internalized to be true about himself as a student. Now, these beliefs are not usually reinforced repeatedly by the same people who taught them to you. Rather, you are the reinforcer of these beliefs. Whenever you have a thought or feeling that echoes what you learned in childhood or even later on and fully accepted, you are affirming and validating that reality. So I reinforce my positive beliefs in my creativity throughout my teenage years, and my art and my writing improved. I was my own biggest cheerleader when it came to that until I stopped caring about it, which is unfortunate. I should have probably return to art. But my brother still to this day reinforces his own beliefs that he doesn't believe he's exceptionally intelligent or talented, and that has held him back from his own success in these kinds of fields, right? He's successful in his own way. I kid you not, my brother is a genius. One time we found a short story that he wrote, and amongst us, the family looked up to see the story online to see if it was plagiarized because it was so well written. But the kid had written it himself, and it blew us all away. When you don't believe in yourself, then that talent doesn't really have anywhere to go, right? The way that we talk to ourselves repeatedly can be the key to our liberation or the shackles to our self-imposed prison. So let's talk about how we can talk to ourselves so that we can be happier, healthier, more successful in all areas of our life, and just liberate ourselves truly. So self-talk is essentially the dialogue that goes on in your mind all day long. And this can be either positive and constructive or negative and destructive. So the way that we speak to ourselves shapes our feelings, our actions, our reactions, which in turn shape our reality and our place in that reality. You cannot become a self-actualized, joyful millionaire if you keep talking about yourself as poor and insecure and believing yourself to be that way. Negative self-talk can truly limit your potential, or it can empower and motivate you to reach your full potential. So the first step to better self-talk is awareness. I know if you've been around for a while, you probably knew this was coming because awareness is always the first step to our evolution. Becoming aware of your thoughts and noticing the negative and destructive ones, and also noticing the positive and constructive ones. Because simply becoming aware that we might be limiting ourselves with certain thought patterns can empower us to replace those thoughts with more empowering ones. So for me, this feels really good and really expansive. Let's say I'm having a really bad day. I'm in the car, I've spiraled into a destructive self-talk session. I feel really crappy. But the moment I gain awareness of my thoughts, I realize I'm just calling more of what I don't want into my reality. I'm focusing on what I don't want because I'm in this spiral and my emotions have risen to meet these thoughts, which creates thought forms. So to me, it feels so good to notice the thought because when I notice it, I can do something about it. I can start to replace it with a more empowering one. So this is similar to how I practice meditation. I focus on the breath and I notice and become aware of each time that I've lost my breath and attached to a thought instead. The noticing is the meditation. The bringing myself back to my breath is the practice. In the same vein, bringing myself back to more empowering thoughts. Whatever I am thinking and whatever I'm feeling strongly is what's going to happen in my life makes me feel so much more empowered and connected to the all-powerful creative power of this universe because, wow, so many powers in that sentence. Because it gives me free will. It allows me, okay, you've noticed it, now what will you do with these thoughts? Where are you gonna go? Are you gonna come back to the breath, come back to the positive, empowering thought? Or are you going to let your thoughts go errant? Let your meditation come off track? All of life is a meditation in that way, right? So I want to talk about what sort of negative thoughts we might encounter while we do this sort of self-analysis, this self-monitoring. Because sometimes people are not even sure whether their thoughts are positive or negative, right? So these are just a few of them. The first is mind reading. That's assuming we know what someone is thinking of us or what someone is thinking in general. We normally lean negative when we make these assumptions, and that makes us hate ourselves and often this other person, when in reality, we have no idea what the other person is thinking. And in fact, we can change the fabric of reality by imagining that they're actually thinking positively about us. The second type of negative thinking is all or nothing thinking, which is just seeing things in black and white, this or that, and there's no middle ground, there's no nuance, right? For example, if I don't get this job, I'll never work in this field. I'm a failure. I wasted my life. This person doesn't want to date me. I'm unlovable and I'll never have a partner. No, actually, that's not how life works. You can be a lovable, delectable peach and someone might still prefer apples. It doesn't mean no one will love a peach out there. So questioning your all or nothing thinking becomes this really powerful awareness exercise. And then there's other types of negative self-talk such as catastrophizing. I don't know if I added extra letters to that word. I hope I said it right. That is expecting the worst possible outcome in every situation and also using should statements such as I should be better at this. He should be calling me by now. She should have done this or that instead. And these are all really limiting thoughts, and it's pretty easy to recognize which thoughts are going to be constructive and which are destructive because You kind of have to notice whether they make you feel expansive when you think them, or do they make you puff your chest out, or do they make you contract and cave in? So we can begin this self-analysis simply by deciding to be more aware and to listen to ourselves more. But what's really helpful in the beginning is if you would keep a journal or a note in your phone, and whenever a negative thought comes up throughout the day, write it down. This paying attention to your thoughts is going to become a habit, and you're going to start listening more mindfully to the soundtrack that runs through your mind all day long and kind of monitor what's going on there. After a few days of journaling, you can reflect on your thoughts. You can look for patterns and triggers. Ask yourself, do any certain situations trigger these thoughts? Maybe certain times of day. Like for example, I noticed when I first started doing this that my negative thoughts increased when I was scrolling on social media for too long, which is common because we're comparing our behind the scenes on the couch or whatever to thousands of strangers' highlight reels, right? So I picked up on this pattern and I had to do that less in order to shift the way my thoughts flowed throughout the day. Now, when we have these thoughts written down, or at least mentally identified, what do we do with them? The work deepens when we begin to challenge our negative thoughts. So for example, if you think to yourself, I'm a failure, I never succeed at anything, then you would ask yourself, is that actually true? Can I think of any time when I've succeeded in anything? And then you really think of any time, big or small, when you may have succeeded. The moment you find one small example even, you know that your negative thought is objectively untrue and you can change the narrative. And then once you begin to question your negative self-talk, you can begin to practice being nicer to yourself. Start to reframe the thoughts that we've identified. So I like to notice when I have thoughts like, this is too much, I can't do it, and I change it to something that comes from curiosity, such as, can I learn how to handle this? Or I'm going to learn how to handle this, right? I'm going to learn how to get through this. So you take a tiny step away from negativity and towards curiosity, and things begin to really lighten up. For some people, jumping into positive affirmations might be exactly what's the right next step. For me, it feels good a lot of the times, and it's really effective. But for some other people, that might be a bit too much of a leap. But I have really good news for you, because there are studies that came out that have shown there's a psychological technique in which instead of saying, I am affirmations, you can actually use third-person affirmations. So you would say something like, Leeor is doing her absolute best. You create some emotional distance from the affirmation, and it makes it feel more manageable, and then your subconscious mind can allow it to sink in more deeply. Others might think that you sound crazy, so maybe don't do this in public, or do it in public and be your freaky self, whatever you feel like, baby. But it's an interesting technique to try. When you practice talking to yourself, you can talk to yourself in the mirror, especially in the morning and at night. My good friend did this and it literally changed her life. She just spoke her affirmations into the mirror. So that's a good place to start, or to add on to for sure. What we really want to make sure is that the conversation in our head all day long is empowering us and not destroying us as well, right? So I encourage you to start speaking your thoughts out loud. Again, maybe not in public, but that's totally up to you. Notice their tone, notice their message, and start to talk to yourself more like you would talk to a friend and not your worst enemy, which is what a lot of us do, and it's really sad. Lastly, something that worked really well for me is having a friend that I talk to often and committing to each other and to ourselves to only speak nicely about ourselves. I think women specifically have a tendency to get on the phone and complain about everything. It could just be my group of friends, I don't know, but I have made a concerted effort to offer the idea of like, maybe let's talk good about ourselves. And when my friends talk poorly about themselves, I will literally tell them, can you stop talking about my friend like that? They're actually great. Thanks. And so we turn our complaints into gratitude for our blessings and to not beat up on ourselves. And me and this friend would keep each other accountable, and even we just spoke into existence what we wanted our lives to look like. We were kind of each other's thought form keepers, right? And we fed each other's thought forms. If you have a friend that you can do this in person or online, in order to start speaking more beautifully about yourself and about others in the world, this is a really nice and effective concept. All of this to say, let's become our own biggest cheerleaders so that the world can little by little start to cheer us on as well. So regularly practice speaking to yourself more kindly. Things are, tough enough out there. Let's be nicer to each other and to ourselves. I love you. I hope that this helped. And if it did, I'd be so appreciative if you could leave a like on this video and also a comment. I am breathing life and love into my YouTube channel, and I'd love to know that there are still people out there who are still interested in what I have to say. It really means the world to me, and it really makes my day. I love you. Until next time, thank you so much. And as always, keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye.